What's up guys, Samir, and today we're going to take a look at Lewis Hamilton's hair transplant, or apparent hair transplant, because this guy has been denying all allegations of his hair transplant. But there's no shame about if you were getting any cosmetic treatment, especially if it has to do with your hair. So we're going to go over it, see his progression of his hair loss and see how he's recovered from it. Obviously, being Formula One race car driver, I'm sure wearing such tight helmets and heat and everything can definitely take a strain on your hair. So we're going to go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into it and check it out. But before we do, I'll let you thank the sponsor of today's video, Vera Clinic. Vera Clinic is where I got my hair transplant done from. If you're looking for a quality, trusted professionals who can get you long-lasting and natural-looking results for a fraction of a price, look no further than Vera Clinic. They got me these amazing results for my own hair transplant, and I would highly recommend them to anybody looking to get their own transplant done, especially overseas. If you want to check out my series of my hair transplant, where I filmed the whole surgery and everything, as well as my month-by-month recovery, I'll leave a link to that whole playlist in the description below, as well as the contact information for Vera Clinic so you can contact them for your own hair transplant needs. That being said, let's jump right into the video. And the reason why I was inspired to create this video in the first place is because I saw this article, of him claiming that he was only losing hair because he was traveling a lot and he was using a lot of these hotel shampoos and conditioners and everything, which were taking a strain on his hair. But after going through it myself, and also after going through a hair transplant, I know androgenic alopecia when I see one. So for someone to just completely deny it and blame it on shampoos and conditioners, I think is pretty funny. And I want to show you the first dramatic before and after. This right here, the photo on the left is him in the late 2000s, I would say around 2008. You can see his hairline receding, obviously from the temples, as well as some diffuse thinning. And the photo of him on the right is present day Lewis Hamilton. And you can see, it's obviously taken a really big turn. Like, someone with that kind of hairline can no way, shape, and form get those thick dreadlocks that he has on the right side. So it's very obvious it's a 0 to 100 dramatic increase in hair density, hair thickness. You can't minoxidil your way out of it because the hairline itself is not too responsive to minoxidil. It works best, obviously, as we know, on the crown. And the funny thing is, he looks better now in his late 30s than he did in his early 20s, thanks to his hair, and he's had a complete glow up. Now, another photo that I want to show side by side is him next to his father. Lewis's father is basically in Norwood 7, which is the very end of what your hair loss journey will look like. And you can see that him on the left is following a very similar pattern, especially over here on this temples. You can see the recessed corners, and you can tell he's kind of on the same trajectory as his father. Obviously, had he not done any treatment or not the transplant, he probably would have been there by now. I'm looking at this article right now, and it says that Hamilton was suffering from male pattern baldness completely, but he blamed washing his hair 3 times a day with poor quality shampoos and conditioners in hotels. What's funny is that, yeah, the poor quality shampoos and conditioners can take a toll on your hair loss, but it doesn't take that kind of a toll where it can cause this kind of damage that is following a very similar trajectory of hair loss as your father. Another thing to consider is that since he is an F1 driver, they are wearing the helmet, and when they are wearing the helmet under a ton of heat can cause some traction alopecia, which may have sped up his hair loss a little bit earlier than his father. Now, we see a photo of him in 2010. This is where we see the hair loss even progressing further. Pretty much the top half is completely gone. I'd say in the photo before, that was in 08, he even had somewhat of a hairline and the temples were receding. Now you can see the whole front hairline is completely gone. And anywhere in between years 2012 and 15 is where we suspect the hair transplant. That's where we see a significant comeback on his hairline, which is, right here, this type of result cannot be achieved just through minoxidil and finasteride alone, because not only did the hair grow, but the density from his donor area in the back, from the photo you see on the left, is what's coming over here. And when you're doing the transplant, you're pretty much transferring the density of the follicles from the donor area to the area on top. So that's what we see. We see pretty much a transfer of that density onto the recipient area of hair loss. So this is completely full blown out. I would not even suspect that this guy did not get a transplant. If you don't know him, this is your first time seeing him, otherwise it would just fly by you. But as for someone who has gotten a hair transplant, this is very obvious. As a celebrity who's in the public eye, and as a young guy who's into fashion style, obviously putting himself in the best shoes possible, I can see why he wouldn't want to claim the allegations of his hair transplant. But when he got his hair back, he was playing around with different hairstyles. There was a point where he grew out his hair completely. He dyed his hair blonde, where you can kind of see the recessed hairline a little bit, but I think the doctors who did his transplant did a good job in terms of not lowering the hairline too much where it's obvious. Rather, they worked with what was already present and just kind of played and kind of just made the hairline from where the hair loss was. And now with the recent hairstyle that he has with the dreads and everything, again, looks very natural, very good. And he has come a long way from 2008, 10 years down the line, being able to hold on to his hair. I'm honestly really happy for him. Lewis tends to play with his hair quite a bit. Sometimes he makes it really short, sometimes he makes it long, and I would suspect that he got an FUE procedure and not an FUT. When you play with different hairstyles so much, there's that FUT scar is very prominent. Even no matter how thick your hair is, you can kind of see that scar even through the hair, especially if you're really, someone who's hair transplant conscious like myself. But I think he got the FUE procedure where, where they extract single follicles, and there's not such an obvious scar in the back. It's rather these tiny dots, and that's pretty easy to cover, especially with the Afro style hair that he has. When those hair follicles grow out, it's not hard to cover up. Even with the hairs that I have right now at this length, again, you can hardly even see my scars, in the back right here. And I'm really happy with it. It's probably the most minimally invasive or obvious looking transplant. I wouldn't see the point of even getting an FUT procedure, because I think FUE is kind of like the mainstream thing right now. All in all, could his hair loss been due to the fact that he was overwashing with a lot of shampoo and conditioner? Possibly, but not likely. Maybe it may have contributed to making it a little bit worse, but it's not the sole reason why. You can see his father has been through the same type of hair loss as he was, but luckily he caught it early and he was able to treat it, and I'm sure he's on some sort of prevention protocol, because for him to get a transplant all the way back in 2010 to 2011 till where he is now, and being able to hold on and maintain what he has now, he's definitely on some sort of prevention treatment like finasteride or something, and that would be my speculation. So that right there concludes Lewis Hamilton's hair loss journey. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.